Okay, day 98, DynCorp, Haiti, and me. This is part 4. Sorry about the interruption last time. I talked about how DynCorp is an example of a public-private partnership, the triple P. And basically, they make the public pay all the research and development, and then they take the profits privately. And that's how it's worked out. And I talked about how the development of antivirus software for computers, when we're trying to get into Russian systems back in the old Cold War, you get paid for that, but then you also get paid for writing the antivirus software. So that's the same thing that DynCorp is doing for bioweapons or diseases to attack the enemy, and they're getting paid to develop the vaccines to counteract that. So, and I'll get into the organ harvesting and Kagami. So, what I talked about in the last episode was they actually did a movie about this, The Bourne Legacy. If you don't want to watch this, you can watch Bourne Legacy. It's probably a lot more entertaining. But this person ran this company, this joint venture between DynCorp and Petersen International, that company I talked about that did the sarin gas testing together, and they came up with Zsolt Harsani. And he is the head of this company called Emergent Biosolutions. And so you're going to see him in the bioweapons development area, developing a bioweapon and as well as coming up with the vaccines. They're going to be split. He's going to be more on the bioweapons side, and then they're going to spin off several other companies. There's one in Seattle. There's a couple different ones. And so I'll go into those later. But there's a connection here to the Center for New American Century, and that's basically Hillary Clinton's think tank. That's the Hillary equivalent to George Bush's Project for a New American Century. So just like I said with Hillary, just kind of changed the letters. Anyway, in the last one where I was getting to was this number of public-private partnerships is up to 7,000 in just 6 years over the 2,000 number. And those are going to be ex-DHS employees that are starting security companies. They're going to be ex-disease folks who are working in the biotech field, starting consultancies. It's going to be this whole war and police infrastructure of police starting their own private startups. Again, make the public pay all the research, and then you take out all the profits, okay? So it's going to be for all the Zika virus, the Ebola, AIDS virus, the swine flu, Lyme disease, all the ones that you've seen for the most part are going to be coming, bird flu virus. They're going to be coming out of these weapons development laboratories. And the way they make them is that at the allergic and infectious diseases, AID, allergic and infectious diseases, the National Institute is in Washington, very close to DynCorp headquarters, by the way. And what they do is they take rotted or diseased kidney flesh and diseased flesh from livers and diseased flesh from different organs, and then they culture it, and then they extract the toxins. So there's no great magic to this development. It's just, well, this caused something to die. Let's grow it and then distill it and then sell it. That really is all there is to it. So it's not the, incredible chemical wizardry that you would think. And basically exactly what I just said. So if you want to see a movie about this, you can go to see The Constant Gardener, where these Foreign Service officers gain a conscience and say this is wrong to be testing on a population without their knowledge. So again, you got 45 different government agencies using top secret information. So not only do you have all these public-private partnerships running around, you have all these different agencies in these countries with top secret information running these kind of programs. This is a vast expansion. Now again, with Trump, I say just stop this. Just say, okay, we're going to stop this right now, and we're going to develop it, just like the travelers, we're going to develop it one by one. So show me the justification. Show me the justification. And why does this need to be a top secret program? And if it can't be printed in the New York Times, then we're going to put it on the back burner. So if you can figure out a way to make this not top secret, we'll approve it right now. That would be how I would handle it with Trump. I talked about Kagami before and Yale. So the reason why you're trying to sanitize and legitimize Kagame is they want to bring him into the United States. So everybody's figured out where I've been going with this is Kagame's been doing this stuff all over Africa. He's been using the bioweapons as kind of a killing field test ground, and he's been using a lot of the other techniques with the sarin gas and so forth. This is all coming to the United States with the organ harvesting. I showed in earlier episodes how he was doing the organ harvesting. And you're going to find in Chicago, Rwanda, those are going to be the guys that do the quick pickup on the bodies. There's going to be a group of Rwandans. Again, they've been in these war-torn situations where they've seen thousands and thousands of dead bodies. Okay, they've hacked bodies up and thrown them in the lake, at Lake Ruru. However you say that, it's hard to say. RWs are hard for me. But you're going to have people at Yale writing position papers and so forth on how to develop these different kinds of weapons systems, human vectored weapon systems and so forth. So it's kind of one of those things again. They say if you can't write an open research paper and describe it and get publicly funded and print it in the New York Times, then let's cut the funding. That's just just where I'm going. So the part of this whole scenario that Kagame put in with the forced labor and the sex trafficking and all that, the part you can't see is unfortunately is the drugs, the attack with the viruses. That's what killed most of the people in Rwanda, not the soldiers. So unfortunately you can't see how that vectored. But the guy who did the vector was Bill Swing. As a matter of fact, everybody says that's not really his name. You come up with a virus and you vector it in with a big mass migration and you create your body bags. The CDC is going to be at the center of all this, by the way. They're the ones that are taking the bodies and doing the dissections and autopsies, and the meter's running. Every time they do one of those, the meter's running. So you're going to find a huge flow of body bags. I'm going to say it's 250,000 going back to the CDC, Georgia Bureau of Investigation for people in the United States. And you're going to see a similar operation in Chicago. This won't be a vectored operation, a virus vector, but you're going to see harvesting in Chicago and Baltimore, Cleveland, Detroit, Philadelphia, and I'm forgetting one. Anyway. Oh, the Somalis. The Somalis, this is a replay of the Somalis. The Somalis in Columbus and the Somalis in Minnesota are going to be the ones doing the organ or the body recovery and the body disposal in those two cities. And they're going to be doing it for all over the Midwest as far as body disposal is concerned. Okay. There's riots today in Haiti. I hope I didn't cause them. But one of the things I talked about in one of the previous comment sections is there's 3 ambassadors during the time since Hillary and the earthquake here in 2010. And I'd like to get the ambassadors on and ask me anything, and where people could just start asking the ambassadors directly questions about these things, or have Rajiv Shah come on and say, he's the one who said all my people did was go down there for 2 weeks, do 24 interviews, something about another 2 anyway, and then came back to Washington. And there's really no follow-up with the people of Haiti, like Azili Danto. Oh, by the way, Azili Danto is doing some great things with human rights folks down there. So if you want to support a real human rights leader, there's Azili Danto. So I will just end it here by saying this is the name of the operation. They're going to change this operation every 2 years. If the CIA is nothing if it's not consistent, it just repeats itself over and over. But I do think you have vectors. You are going to have human vectors for some kind of Zika in the Southwest beyond Florida. And you're going to have a whole bunch of, this goes right back to the DHS thing. They just changed the name. It's going to be DHS in the United States, and CRSA is going to be the company that does a lot of this stuff. But they did it for the virus with, anyway, I'm forgetting names right now. I think I've been hit by a virus. But you're going to see the DHS development and and spreading of this virus in the United States. It's not going to be as bad. It's going to be worse. The more toxic stuff is going to be Africa, then Haiti is going to be used, and then finally here. Okay, that's it for today.